FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. It's November 28th, 2017. November just about gone. One more month to go. Imagine that. No crises, no meltdowns. Well, if it's going to happen, it's got to happen quickly, that's for sure. And the stock market just keeps going up like it always has and always should. Is that true? Can you bank on that? Well, before we get started, be sure to send us an email, join the show, kl@kerrylutz.com, Twitter feed @KerryLutz. And without further ado, Todd Bubba Horwitz is with us now. Todd, welcome to the show. And do stock markets always go up?
Great to be here, Kerry. Thanks for having me. And well, stock markets always go up year over year. They go up an 8% on average since history, but they don't go up every year. So there are times of pain, which is typically created by human emotion.
Yeah. So human emotion, which is a tricky thing because human emotion often deceives us into believing emotion is fact, when in fact, emotion is anti-fact.
I could not agree with you more. I think that I always say to people that I talk to, there's been a time in your life where you've said something to somebody that you wish you could take back, but out of emotion, you let it slip out. And that's the same thing that people unfortunately do with their finances is they sometimes let it slip out. And of course, the old saying on the trading floor was when the widows and orphans are lining up at the door, you know that the market is going to reverse one direction or the other.
Are they lining up now, Todd?
No, right now they're lining up to take on more margin, Kerry. I think that one of the things you have here is a massive debt problem that continues to build. The margin debts are at record highs, and we continue to buy. And everybody knows that the stock markets will never go down again. The pundits are on the warpath of this time is going to be different, as are the advisors. And of course, at the end of the day, you and I know from history that the markets will have a correction. And what will determine that is, well, I think that's still not known. We know it's not the Korean conflict. North Korea with their nuclear weapons, that didn't affect the markets. No terrorist attack has affected the markets in recent vintage. So it'll be something, and what it will be, nobody knows. But right now, everybody's as complacent and as happy as they can be as the markets go up every single day.
Yeah, so the markets go up every day, and obviously if you're in the market, you're way ahead than where you were back in 2010 when it started its meteoric rise. But like you said, something's going to happen, and the debt keeps going higher and higher, and nobody seems to want to do anything about it, do they?
No, I think that's, I believe in my eyes, that's the big fallacy with the tax plan that they're trying to propose right now. They did not decide to discuss any of the debt issues that go along with what's going on. I mean, our debt is bigger. The debt today is bigger than the debt was in 2008 when the housing bubble collapsed. So, when you continue to have people being willing to take on debt without jobs. And of course, we're now starting to see some banks are offering, loans again for no down payment on houses. So the buyers have no skin in the game. It's easy to get deeper in debt. And of course, our system is created to have you get into debt with all of those lovely flyers you get at home offering you 0% financing until you read the fine print, and the 0% financing on cars, which turns out to be about 7 or 8%. All these wonderful things allow people to get into debt. And of course, the other problem is when you have a system that people are not making as much as they used to make, and they keep trying to raise prices, then that creates more debt because I can't get it from the bank because they won't provide the liquidity. I have to go to my credit cards and pay those usury rates they like me to pay.
Yeah. So beware of bankers offering 0% interest, huh?
Well, I think that's a big thing. I think, you've seen, listen, this time of year, it's Christmas season, 90 days, same as cash, whatever, is 0% for 5 years. What they don't tell you is that if you forget to make a payment of the minimum, then the interest reverts back to day one. And they also forget to tell you that the interest rates, whatever the top they can charge, 15 or 16 or 17%, which you can never get out of that hole. So that TV set you bought because you didn't have to pay for it right away, all of a sudden becomes from the $1,000 set you bought, now becomes about a $10,000 TV set.
Yeah. Well, we've seen that. I had it myself. I had gotten like a Home Depot special. I was redoing my kitchen, and like I thought I was paying it off, like over the, I did the division and all that. And what happened? I bought something else that went on that card. So I was off by a few $100s, and they tried to charge me thousands of dollars in interest. And I called them up and said, what's the deal here, guys? And it was like, oh, we'll take that off. That's okay. We'll take it off. But this is what happens here, right, Todd? I mean, the financial system has become a rent-seeking, cannibalistic endeavor, if you will, right?
100%. I mean, again, the whole system behind, if you get into the banking system, the fractional banking, I mean, they are in effect similar to the Fed in being able to print money that they don't have. If you're lending out 9-to-1 of what you are supposed to have, and I would bet that very few of these banks actually have the amount that they're lending out in any case. I don't think they have the 1 for the 9 they're lending, but now they don't have to have everybody pay. And then of course the way they show it on their balance sheets creates bigger bonus for them, so that once again they can if they make a mistake, well, guess what? The middle class gets to pay for them. So they've got a no risk system, which to me is creates a much bigger problem down the road. And of course you cannot continue to try to either borrow your way out of debt or kick the debt down the road. At some point, it has to be satisfied, and I think we're coming to that time again. And I don't know when it'll be, but sometime in the near future, we will have this problem, and that will probably be the downfall of this particular run in the equity markets.
Yeah. So there's going to be some type of debt crisis, you think, and we're just not going to be in a position to handle it, and what's going to be the ramifications of it? Are we going to be living in bomb shelters after this? What's going to happen here?
No, I mean, I think that you'll see a collapse, and you'll see another big sell-off, and you'll see a bunch of, unfortunately, in this time, the elderly. Because I think the biggest problem in today's market is you have the fixed income people and the retirees that are being forced into the stock market because they have no place else to go, because they're always chasing that yield. And, with interest rates with 10-year notes at 2.5% or less than 2.5%, where are they going to put their money? They worked their lives to put away, I'd say $500,000. I don't know numbers, but let's just say that. And they knew that they were going to get 5 or 6% from the bank, and they could get $30,000 a year from that, and they would get another, $15,000 or $20,000 from Social Security, and that would keep them in the life that they had lived their whole life without having to go into their savings. Well, the problem is when you take that away, they're now being forced to go into the equity market, which then puts them in a position that if it does fail, and it will, then they're going to have to go out and get jobs. And unfortunately, there isn't enough good jobs to begin with, let alone having to have the entire retirement community out there looking for jobs so they can live.
So good point. But look, on the other hand, so there are challenges for the seniors, but so many people I know just never stop working. Like there's a group of guys that I met when I moved to Florida at Starbucks. So I'm thinking like 5, 6 of them, half of them are retired, don't work. The other half, one guy is 75. I don't think he needs the money, but he works at least 4 days a week. The other guy, he's around the same age. He works 2.5 to 3 days a week, but he's taking longer and longer vacations. It seems to me the concept of retirement, getting the gold watch and all of that good stuff just isn't what it used to be, is it?
No, I don't think it is at all. I mean, listen, I don't think I would ever retire anyways. I mean, I could retire now, but I don't think I'll ever retire. I think I like working. I like being busy. What am I going to do? But I do believe that there is a big portion of people out there, though, that don't have the access to continue working. They can't make enough money, and they are forced to take this savings, this nest egg, and now take it higher risk because, when the pundits tell you that, well, the stock market pays a higher yield than a 10-year bond, what they don't tell you is that the 10-year bond, if you sign up for 2.5%, you're getting 2.5% over 10 years. If you sign up for the stock market, you're not guaranteed to get that return. So there's a whole bunch of things that are involved, and I think that what you have to look at from the non-working class, the fixed income people that either can't or don't want to work anymore, they're going to be forced into a very, very bad position. And of course, if you've noticed, the few attempts at a sell-off in this market are very rapid, even though we can immediately come back. But that's because every one of them are sitting with their finger on the sell button because they're afraid to death that the markets will sell off, which is probably one of the reasons that we're still propelling a little bit higher, because they're in a hurry to get out. But I think at the end of the day, there's going to be a problem, and this is where it will come from, because the age group of, let's say, 50 to 65 or whatever are the ones who are most affected by the lack of jobs that are available as well, because we don't have the manufacturing jobs or the machine tool jobs. So if you were uneducated and were in the manufacturing business or in a machine toolist, you've got no job right now.
Very true. Well, maybe some of Trump's recent initiatives will help that. I mean, mining coming back in the country is up 28% last quarter. Things definitely are starting to happen, aren't they?
I mean, things are getting better, but again, I don't, the problem with, you want to get to the government side of it, the government's a disaster. We have a very, very bad situation. First of all, you've got too many people too far right and too far left. It wasn't that long ago when politicians were more kind of down towards the center and we had different beliefs which made us right or left. But when you have what's going on now and you're creating all this dissension and hate throughout, and you refuse to recognize the fact that a GDP is only good if it's coming from true growth and not from artificial growth, which is what we are seeing today, I think that becomes the bigger problem. And I don't see, I did vote for Trump. I put that out there and I supported him. And I actually predicted about 18 months, the minute he said he was going to run, I predicted he would win. However, he can't get things done because of what's going on with the general government. You can see how much of a pain this tax plan is. So we have no health care. We have a tax plan that he's going to settle for, which is brutal for small business. It does not benefit anybody. But again, that's the problems that we have with the overall government and the way that we run things. We run them into the ground. And that's what I think we're going to continue to see here.
All right. And yeah, so more of the same, basically. And there's a limit to even what Trump can do. I don't know if you've been following the whole brouhaha which is happening with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, an entity that probably never should have existed. But here we are. It does exist. And the question is, which lunatic in the asylum is running it? And I guess the courts are going to have to figure out. But can you imagine something like this, Todd, that it's just an example of how bad things are with the government, that there's a dispute over whether the president can appoint a head or appoint the administrator of a federal agency.
It shows how screwed up the entire system is, and that goes back to my point that who's running the asylum. And the first thing is, and this is one of the disappointments I find with President Trump, is that one of his big promises initially was to start to work on term limits, because the bigger problem you have here is these idiots that are in lifetime achievement awards for politics and continue to be lifetime politicians are not beneficial to the country. They're beneficial to themselves. Yeah, and with all the regulations and things that they can set forth, they don't even have to follow what they set. So you have a problem that it comes down to what? It comes down to money, like everything else. And of course, they've got the access to get the money, to get the lobbyists. And of course, they could care less about the general middle class, because who pays for all these things when it's all said and done? The middle class. That's what this whole big thing of inflation is about right now. They need to get assets inflated so that the middle class can pay more taxes.
Yeah, there's really no way to get around it. The middle class pays for everything.
That's correct, and that is the issue that is at hand. And until you get these guys in and out of office, then you get people in there that really are concerned about the country and versus themselves, you're going to have, this is going to be the case. It's the same as what happened with the financial meltdown in 08. It's always the case that the middle class pays the tab. Why were the banks bailed out in 2008? Everybody wants to say that the system would have melted down without that, but how about they just would have paid off all the depositors of those banks with the money instead of giving it to the bankers? See, I mean, I think that they should have just made all the deposits good, and then everybody had their money, and the banks that couldn't survive, they'd be out of business, and we'd have new banks. But of course, the regulations don't favor competition, they favor basically getting to the maximum, which is, I think any one bank can own 9% of the banking industry. So you've got 9 banks plus the little guys hanging out there. And that, I think, is a big detriment to the overall system.
Oh, for sure. And not even thinking about fairness here, the fairness factor involved, but that Wall Street gets the bailout and Main Street gets the tab,
which is always the case, and that becomes the overall bigger problem, that you cannot exist, and especially when you've not only destroyed the system that we should be having, but you've now taken away the jobs. I mean, look at the jobs that we have today. Look at they're talking about what a great employment situation we're in full employment, but we're making less money.
Yeah.
Most of the jobs you're seeing that are being created now are service jobs that don't pay a decent wage. We tie in healthcare with it, and what do you have? You've got an overall disaster, which will create again another problem, down the road, and that's where it needs to stop. And we need to get a way to rework the economy and rework the way that we do things, so that it's a fair and equal playing field, which it's not. I mean, this goes back to the Creature from Jekyll Island, where they the theory, the conspiracy theory behind that is that they're trying to eliminate the middle class and make it a 2-class system, which is kind of happening as we speak.
Very true. Very true. So is there any hope here? Can anything be done here, Todd?
Well, I mean, I think there's always hope. I mean, if you don't have hope, you have no life. So I think there's always hope. I think that we need some real regulation to change the way that we do things. I think that, you have to revamp Social Security. You've got to revamp a lot of these pension plans. There's going to be some pain to pay early, but you have to, first of all, get everybody on the same page, to realize that the markets we are living in today, the world we live in today, is no longer as free as we would like it. It's not the system that was designed. And we went to war in 1776 for less than what's going on right now. I think that these are the problems, and these are things that might create an overall revolution. I think you might be seeing some of that with some of this cryptocurrency transactions right now. I think that might be a sign that people are starting to get a little bit fed up, and you might be seeing a change. And I think this troubles the bankers, the Jamie Dimons of the world, who's already come out and said what a scam this stuff is. And the other guys that are against this. In the meantime, every one of them are invested in some sort or fashion of this cryptocurrency world through the blockchain and through all the other things that they're doing. But in the meantime, outwardly, they are bashing it. And I think that's where the problem lies. We need to get rid of the people that don't understand the free market system and want total control and total bailouts.
Yeah, well, that sounds reasonable, but it sounds impossible.
Well, I mean, again, if you give up hope, then you might as well just, go lay down somewhere. But I think that there's always the chance for hope, and there's the opportunity that something could change. I mean, who would have ever thought that President Trump or Donald Trump at the time would get elected? I mean, he's as far from a real candidate as you could imagine. Now, if he can get elected and they can get some other people in that are like him, that are more, he's not right, he's not left, he's a center guy that's about the money. And I have no problem with that part of it, as long as you're willing to try to make it happen for others. And I think that in my mind, that was his desire, was to try to free up the system and get back to real true markets. Because, I'll ask you a question. Do you think we have free markets and price discovery right now?
Oh, of course not. We're not capitalistic anymore, it seems, doesn't it?
No, I mean, look at the price is determined by, who decides to set the price. And, if you look at, what goes on, why is the stock market going up every day? Because the money is so cheap. So where am I going to go? So they pigeonholed every investor into the stock market alone. You can't go anywhere else, basically. So you're now stuck in the market. If you're stuck in the market, then when we get all loaded up, what's going to happen? Well, it's got to fail. You can't, the housing market houses go up when interest rates go down. They go down when interest rates go up. So you don't have a true finding the right price of which a transaction can take place. You have a price based on where the money is. So the money's become imaginary, which is this fiat currency system, which is total BS. Because again, when somebody can manipulate the price of the currency, then what they can do is they can issue a secondary on the money that I'm holding in my pocket right now,
right?
Which it doesn't make me happy.
Of course not. Of course not. Yeah, we know that. The system totally corrupt. Hey, Todd, we want to find out more about you. Check out your show. Check out your various services. Where's the best place to go?
Bubba&nbsp is the best place to go. It has everything that I do listed there, and I look forward to hearing from anybody. You can email me at bubba@bubba&nbsp. Love to talk business and see what's going on, and of course I'd like to help educate people as well. So that's kind of what we do.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Bubba, we will have a link to your site in the show notes to this interview on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter. Got one going out shortly. Hey, and the Twitter feed is at Kerry Lutz. The Facebook page is Financial Survival Network. And as always, join the show, get involved. Email me at kl@kerrylutz.com. Todd, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, Kerry. Have a great day.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.